Good evening and welcome to Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Now, the Snoopgate saga was back in the headlines today, but this time it seemed the tables had turned. While examining a part of the report submitted by the committee set up to look into the allegations leveled by the opposition, Supreme Court today said that there was no conclusive proof to support claims that the Indian government used the Pegasus spyware for snooping. Chief Justice of India Ramana said that the apex court-appointed panel has concluded that the Israeli spyware was not found in the 29 mobile devices that it had examined. The technical committee did find some malware in 5 of the 9 phones examined. However, it doesn't mean it is a malware of Pegasus. The BJP was quick to cite this as conclusive proof of its vindication, demanding an apology from those who called it treason.
देशद्रोह का मामला है, राजद्रोह का मामला है। क्या राहुल गांधी कांग्रेस पार्टी माफी मांगेगी, जिस पर इतना तूफान खड़ा किया गया देश भर में कि भारत में जनता की प्राइवेसी को नुकसान बताया जा रहा है, इंस्टीट्यूशंस को कॉम्प्रोमाइज किया जा रहा है, प्रधानमंत्री अपने पार्टी के अंदर पेगासस के द्वारा सर्वेलेंस करा रहे हैं, आरोप शुरू हो गया। तो क्या आज कांग्रेस पार्टी माफी मांगेगी?
Now, interestingly, the Supreme Court bench also noted that the centre did not cooperate with the expert committee, a fact that was used by the opposition to ask the NDA government what is it trying to hide. The question now is, can any side claim a high ground in this debate?
पेगासस नामक हथियार का प्रयोग अपोजिशन पार्टी के लीडर्स, न्यायपालिका के जो फंक्शनरीज हैं, एग्जीक्यूटिव के जो फंक्शनरीज हैं, सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट हैं, उनके फोन पे किया गया। हम मांग करते हैं कि किस एक्ट के अंतर्गत ऐसी व्यवस्था थी कि संसद सदस्यों के ऊपर राहुल गांधी जी के फोन पर पेगासस हथियार का प्रयोग किस एक्ट के अंतर्गत, उस एक्ट के किस प्रावधान के अंतर्गत किया गया। पेगासस हथियार से संविधान और जो लोकतंत्र है दोनों कमजोर हो रहे हैं। देश ने समझ लिया कि वो कौन व्यक्ति थे जिनके इंस्ट्रक्शंस पे इस हथियार का प्रयोग लोकतंत्र और संविधान को कमजोर करने के लिए किया गया।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And for more on this, let's go across to our guest. Dr. Prajita Sarangi, MP of the BJP, is joining us on the show. With us also is Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swarajya magazine. With us also is Sanjay Jha, author. We're also joined by Dr. Suman Siraman, who's a political analyst. But I first and foremost want to go across to Riju Dutta, who's spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. Riju Dutta, you heard the BJP spokesperson or leader, Ravi Shankar Prasad, there come out and say that these allegations, there is some kind of treason in this entire act of allegedly using Pegasus, and several such allegations that have been made by opposition parties, all today stand completely exposed. But the Supreme Court has said there is no finding of any of the Pegasus malware on the devices that were examined, and therefore these charges do not hold. Riju Dutta.
Thank you, Madhav. Good evening. What I want to say, I want to start off by saying this, that the Prime Minister's idea of New India has become an Orwellian nightmare. The thing is, yes, out of 29 phones examined, 5 has been found malware, but there also in the judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court has said that the central government has not cooperated with the committee. In what way, till what capacity, it will come out in the future. But I am not going to quote what I think. There were statements made by the leader of opposition, Shumendu Adhikari in Bengal, that I have got the call records of the National General Secretary of Trinamool Congress, Abhishek Banerjee. There was an article which published a list, article, if you can allow me, I can use the name also, where there was a list of names that was on Pegasus, and Mr. Abhishek Banerjee and our then strategist, Mr. Prashant Kishore Ji's names was mentioned. There was an article in an international newspaper which said that Pegasus was bought in 2017 by paying $2 billion by the Indian government, and the Israeli manufacturer said, yes, Indian government bought from us. So I don't know what is right, I don't know what is wrong. But what I know for sure is that India is the second highest country in the world in terms of data breaches. Right to privacy is our right. Why did the central government take back the data protection bill in 2019?
Okay.
So there is a lot of fiasco in all
lot
this.
of questions for the central government. Let me take this across to Aparajita Sarangi. Aparajita Sarangi, all right, we don't have that line clear with Aparajita Sarangi yet. We'll try and fix that line, but let me take that question across to Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swarajya magazine. A lot of questions in terms of data breaches, in terms of why the data protection bill was taken back, and also at the same time, Tushar Gupta, end of the day, the opposition is going to come out and say that why did the centre not come clean either before the Supreme Court or before the Supreme Court appointed panel or even in Parliament. These are all forums in which the centre could have come out and said a clear, unequivocal no to actually having bought the Pegasus software, but that hasn't really happened.
Good evening, Madhav. You know, the first thing is that the data protection bill and the withdrawal of it has nothing to do with the controversy here. A new version of the data protection bill, after taking the feedback from the industry, is already on its way. So these are two very, very separate issues. On the issue of data breaches, that is far more complex, and you cannot just attribute it to the phone records of one national secretary of some party. It doesn't work that way. Number two, this is again a series of false alarms that have been created by the opposition. We saw it during Rafale, we saw it during the vaccine crisis, we saw it now. Every time the opposition uses these taxes to divert attention from the electoral defeats, there were a lot of politicians, a lot of journalists, a lot of observers who were making the noise that their phones were compromised, that the BJP or the government was snooping on their phones. When it came to forwarding their devices, when it came to submitting the devices for investigation, all the committee had was 29 devices. And when the controversy broke out last year in July, there were so many people saying that the entire Congress party has been compromised, Rahul Gandhi's phone has been compromised. I mean, so many things were said. But when it's about walking the talk, suddenly you see all of them disappear. So this is what I don't understand. If you're so sure that your device is compromised, if you're on the government's snooping list, if there is one, why not come forward? Why not prove it? Okay. You're not walking your own talk, and then when the Supreme Court committee is coming forward and saying there is no conclusive evidence,
let me put it across to Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, you know, you can't have it both ways. That's what Tushar Gupta is saying over here. You can't allege that the government is not doing something or snooping on you, and yet when the opportunity comes before this panel, less than 10% of the persons who are on that list of over 300, and you very well know it, have actually submitted their devices. And in fact, I can say that that committee went out of its way to assure that they would not in any way tamper or leak the private data. They would not even look at it. They would just look at it for the purposes of examining if there was a malware or not. So how can we today actually know for sure if that snooping actually happened when those who are in fact politicians who claim that their phones are snooped on themselves have not submitted their devices? I think that's a fair question. Please answer that.
Well, Madhav, this is a very serious issue, and I'm very glad you're discussing it, including your viewers should be very interested, because it is about a fundamental right to privacy. Let me start by first telling you that this government went to the Supreme Court and in fact said that we don't even have a right to our own bodies when the right to privacy was being debated in the Supreme Court. They actually spoke against it. So that's the first point that we need to understand. What is the ideological or the, what I call is the policy mindset of this government? Number one. Number two, if you look at the numbers, 5 out of 29, and I was astonished to hear how Amit Malviya and gang were, celebrating it as if it is an innocuous development, is 17% infiltration or infection rate. 17% is a very high number. And the Supreme Court has not said categorically that this wasn't Pegasus. They said we are not able to establish it. And if you look at it from the sample of 5 on 29, imagine if other people volunteered to give the mobile phone,
but
which many people hesitated to do so.
Sanjay, just a minute. Malware could be from any website.
But you can't give the benefit of doubt to the government.
No, I'm not trying to stop you there, but I'm just saying, just clarifying that point on malware. Malware could be from any website that one serves. There are n number of malicious websites there that plant malware or apps that could be responsible for it. So, can we conclusively say that those 5 are all Pegasus?
Yeah, by the same logic, Madhavan, and a very valid point, that end of day, why did many people not submit their mobile phone? Because they were paranoid, knowing this authoritarian, dark government, that they would plant a malware on the mobile phones for subsequent abuse. No,
But
you know, one can understand the apprehension.
Are you saying that the Judicial Commission also you do not have faith in, sir? Because it is, at the end of the day, a retired judge who's looking at it. You know, because, I mean, one can have a problem with a government-appointed committee, but this is a Supreme Court-appointed committee. If there are any complaints of the committee, that too can be addressed before the Supreme Court for sure.
Well, look at it like this. Madhav, I think this is probably the biggest statement made by the Supreme Court on any government in our parliament history. Now, you and I both know, all the panelists are very mature people, they know, the highest court of the land is the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court makes a statement that the government refused to cooperate with it in such a sensitive matter concerning the fundamental rights of 140 crore Indians.
Okay.
I think that to me is the most damaging.
Let me take this across to Dr. Aparajita Sarangi. Dr. Aparajita Sarangi, back to square one. Once again, the point coming in that why would the government not cooperate? It's in the government's own interest to come out and say that no, we did not buy this software unequivocally. All we have said time and again we have seen is that government, you know, took a very meandering sort of a stand, an ambivalent sort of a stand, both inside Parliament and even the Chief Justice said so inside the Supreme Court and in front of this panel. Why not come and say no? Clearly, no, we did not buy Pegasus.
They refused to give an affidavit.
Good evening. A very good evening. Now, please give me some time. See, the entire report of the media consortium came out on 18th of July 2021, and I think that explains everything. The next day, the parliament, the monsoon session of the parliament had to start, and there was uproar inside the house. And then, of course, we had just 22% productivity in the monsoon session of the parliament. And the reason was Pegasus. Huge uproar, ruckus, as they always do, and this time it was Pegasus. Now, all the opposition parties gathered together, including the Congress, to disrupt the government from going for normal functioning. And for that matter, let me tell you, 2 days after the entire ruckus commenced, the IT minister stood up with a paper in his hand and he read out the stand of the government. Absolutely clear. We had nothing to hide. And in the Rajya Sabha, his paper was snatched away. And we know what happened thereafter. So my point is, as far as the government is concerned, the government's stand was very clear right from the beginning. And please don't say that we did not talk or did not cooperate, in the sense that we did submit an affidavit in the Supreme Court.
Ma'am, this is what the Chief Justice has said today. Do you want me to read out what CJI said today?
No,
have you not
I
heard
understand.
that?
No, I have read that. I have read that. Let me just come to that. We have submitted an affidavit, and that affidavit contained everything. And as far as the observation of the Honorable Supreme Court is concerned, yes, we hold each word of the Supreme Court in high esteem. And we solidly, support whatever word is being uttered by Honorable Supreme Court. But at the same time, we will say that we always stood by whatever we said in the Parliament, and that was also written in our affidavit. And believe me, had we gone too much ahead in convincing, these people who are talking otherwise would have said government is trying to interfere with the working of the Supreme Court. I tell you, I challenge, these same people would have talked like that.
Can I ask?
Okay, let me come in.
Just one question. Madhav, just one question.
Okay, Sanjay, very quickly, yeah.
Dr. Sarangi, you're one of the more, moderate spokespersons of the BJP. I have only one question for you. Did the government buy the Pegasus spyware or not from Ukraine? Does India have it or not?
Here, whatever we tell you...
Give us a yes-no answer. Give us a yes-no answer.
No,
do we have it or not?
We tell you, you will not be convinced, and a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion.
No, I'm asking you, do you have it or not?
But I must say that NSO has categorically stated that it licensed the spyware only to vetted governments, and India is not a vetted government within quotes. I'm quoting the NSO group.
All right,
so I think this answers your question.
Okay, let me just bring...
It doesn't.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Subansi Raman. Let me bring in Subansi Raman on this. Let me bring in Subansi Raman on this. Subansi Raman, today we have seen the response coming in from various political parties, but, in the monsoon session, the manner in which political parties reacted, today top leaders of political parties, chief ministers, regional satraps were not seen, reacting on Pegasus the manner in which they did in the last monsoon session, where virtually the entire opposition was trying to get the government on the mat, and in fact the entire monsoon session was virtually washed away on this one issue of Pegasus. So somewhere or the other, it also begs an answer about whether the fears that were being expressed by the opposition, somewhere whether they were unfounded, given the fact that a Supreme Court committee has gone through all of this and has not been able to establish that Pegasus was there on those phones.
No, Madhav, first of all, let us not say that the Supreme Court committee has not been able to establish it, having all the support that they needed to actually establish it. They did not get the support from the government, and that has been mentioned by the Honorable Court and by this committee. Now, let me make 3-4 quick points. Can we turn off the echo, please? Yeah. So, for point number 1, the court has not said Pegasus conclusively was not found. They have only said malware on 5 phones. We can't say if it's Pegasus. Probably they don't have access to Pegasus to say it's Pegasus, because Pegasus is sold only to governments. And if they needed access to Pegasus to prove that this malware was Pegasus, how would they go about it? So there is a fundamental. 1 minute. The second point, Dr. Sarangi, at no stage has anybody from the government stood up in Parliament and said the government of India has at no point in time procured Pegasus from NSO. Full stop. At no point has anybody representing the government actually said this. They've gone around in playing with the language, with words. No illegal snooping happened, and various such terminologies have been used. The government never explicitly said we have never procured Pegasus.
So we're back to the same point. Back to the same point. Back to the same point. Let me get in Tushar on that. Let me get in Tushar on that.
1 second, Madhav.
Okay, quickly complete your point, please.
Last point.
Quickly.
Last point. Madhav. The point is, no, 1 second please, let me finish. The point, Madhav, is without the cooperation of the NSO or the government of India, you can appoint 500 committees. You cannot conclusively establish it.
Okay.
If NSO is not going to cooperate, if the government of India is also not going to cooperate, what do you want the committee to do?
Okay. Tushar, come in on this,
How
please.
will they establish what is on the phone is Pegasus?
All right, you've made your point, sir. Tushar, unless the government or NSO
Madhav,
cooperates, we'll never be able to establish what has actually happened.
Madhav,
please respond to Sumansi Raman.
Madhav, 1-2 points. One about the malware that has been found on 5 of the 29 submitted devices. Please understand that if this is a software they're accusing of snooping on a person's entire device, including their encrypted data, the malware won't be that simple. Tomorrow I can upload an app overnight on an app store, name it whatever I want, and add whatever malware I want to add to it. As you rightly pointed out, there are several malicious websites that do that. So it's not that simple that, oh, there was malware, so there is Pegasus. That conclusion alone is very naive, for the lack of a better word. Number 2, we are talking about the lack of government support to the committee. That is yet to be found. But nevertheless, Sumanta ji, that is not how technology works. I'm sorry. Nevertheless, I am again asking the same question. Sanjay Jha said, sir, I did not interrupt.
Gentlemen, one at a time. We have time to debate this. Let him give his point of view. Sumant, you can correct him if you want to. You can respond to him. Let Tushar complete his point, please, just as I allowed you to. Tushar.
Madhav, the people last year, all these journalists, politicians, the entire lobby said, our devices are completely compromised. The government has every possible data on our movement, on our talks or our conversations, etc. So there was nothing left for subsequent, malware to be planted. As Mr. Jha points, you could have submitted your device, you could have walked out truthful on your claims, but they did not submit the device. If you want to say that the government did not cooperate with the committee, also factor in that the people who made the claims in the first place, they also did not come forward when it came to submitting the devices. That's the second point. Number 3, as the BJP MP has rightly pointed out, For a long time now, we have seen there is this diversion tactics that happen every time a parliament session is to start.
Okay.
Pegasus was also one of those diversion tactics that
is it therefore merely a coincidence? All right, I got the gist of your point, and let me put that question to Suman Siraman. I put that in a different way to Sanjay Jha earlier, but Suman Siraman, listen to my question, please, and respond to this. Is it just a mere coincidence that Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who has made a big deal of Pegasus, has today also tweeted following the judgment, neither he nor his close aides who are named in that list of 300, none of their devices were submitted, and all sorts of reasons were given. The device has gone defunct, it has been lost, all sorts of things. Is it just a mere coincidence then that this has actually happened? Why not submit the devices to the Supreme Court panel? Are we saying that we don't have faith in a Supreme Court appointed committee as well?
Simply because, no, it is the unfortunate truth, but the fact remains that many of those chose not to submit their phones because they felt that potentially the phones may at some point be in the hands of government officials who could plant something further on them.
How?
So
when it's a Supreme Court justice, retired justice who's looking into it, where does the government come in? Why are we mixing up the courts and the government? Because tomorrow now, Suman, the problem, I'll tell you what the problem is. I'll tell you what the problem is. I'll tell you what the problem is with that premise. Suman, just 1 minute. Just give me 10 seconds. There's a problem with that premise. The problem with that premise is that tomorrow we can never hope to have justice in this country. Tomorrow, every single judgment in which either the government is a party or an opposition ruled government is a party, you will always say that we fear that the government will have an undue influence. There is no end to this in that case, Suman Siraman.
Can I come in, please?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. It's a very simple thing.
I'm coming to each of you, please. Let Suman answer this question. I'm seeing many hands going up. I'll come to each of you.
What is the malware? Yeah, let me. Yeah, 1 minute. It's not that 0 phones were submitted, 29 phones were submitted, 5 were found infected with
10%, sir. Less than 10%.
Now the question is, what is that malware? Is it Pegasus or not? How does the 17%? 5 out of 29 is not less than 10% according to my mathematics. I don't know how
29 out of 300 I'm saying. You said okay, 29 was submitted. I'm talking about the total number of alleged phones that were snooped upon.
Not 300, sir. No, we don't know. We don't know how many would have had malware and the rest of them been submitted.
So that's worse.
Right,
if it's more, it's even worse.
29. Now
I'm talking about the list of names publicly available to me.
Or they don't.
Let me quickly bring in the government spokesperson, though, the BJP spokesperson. All right, I think we're going around in circles. Aparajita Sarangi, simple question to you, ma'am. A number of governments globally have conducted their own investigations. You know, there are nations such as France, Algeria, Israel, etc., who have actually gone on to examining whether there was this illegal surveillance carried on by Pegasus or not. Several nations like Germany, Hungary, Thailand and United States have admitted that Pegasus spyware was used. So somewhere or the other, the government also could have initiated this entire inquiry and come out clean to set the record straight. That unfortunately has not happened in India, and why not? And the reason I'm asking you this question is this, because the allegation is that top police officials have also been snooped upon. All of those who are part of a security and intelligence apparatus, if they have been snooped upon, perhaps even by foreign governments, not even our Indian government, why should we not come clean?
A Supreme Court case is going on, right? And 4 weeks after, again, there is a hearing on this particular case. We are all aware of it. Now, as far as the government is concerned, it was very keen to set up a technical committee. But then this particular case came where we are the respondents. And when the Supreme Court is hearing the case, 12 petitions were bunched together and the hearing started. I don't think there was any reason on the part of the government to get into it. Let's wait for the final judgment.
Okay.
Now, I will just remind all of you. See, as far as the submission of devices is concerned, of course, on 2 dates.
Okay.
First, let me tell you, just give me 30 seconds. First, the technical committee appointed by the Supreme Court for the purpose actually invited all those who had been complaining to submit their devices.
Okay.
Some devices came.
Yes.
Then on 2 dates.
We've debated that.
January 2.
Yes.
Just a minute. 2nd January 2022 and February 3rd 2022, 2 separate dates again. The same committee.
Yes, we are aware of that, ma'am. We are all aware of the number of hearings that happened, the difficulties that happened in terms of those actual hearings. We are completely out of time, unfortunately. I wanted to go across to someone for a response, but we really don't have any time. Dr. Aparajita Sarangi, Tushar Gupta, Sanjay Jha, Riju Dutta and Dr. Suman Siraman, thanks so much for joining us. It's a very sensitive issue. It's an issue that all Indians should certainly be concerned about, because in this day and age when we all walk around with our devices, certainly data privacy and protection is something that citizens, not just here in India, but globally are concerned about, particularly the entire issue of surveillance and snooping. And that's why this is certainly a very, very important debate and discussion to have.